Funimation. Some of my more well-known roles are Carla from Fairy Tail, if there are any Fairy Tail fans out there. I'm also Kendo in My Hero Academia. And if you're watching any Toonami right now, I'm Tamaki Kotatsu in Fire Force and Megami in Food Wars. So welcome. This is my Behind the Voice Q&A. So I'm so glad to see all of you here today, and I'm so happy to be hanging out in Leicester with all of you. How cool is it there's this bar right here in the con? I've never been to a con where there was a bar. Yeah, that's a first for me. Hell yeah, what? Yeah. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, so any questions you have? And I do have 3 tiny prizes for if I hear a question that I've never heard before. So get creative. Get creative, y'all. Or just ask anything you want to ask. And I will do my best to answer you.
Who was the craziest fan you've ever met?
Oh gosh. I can't think of a specific one, but anytime someone just starts screaming in your face, kind of freaking out like that, that's always oh my gosh, that amount of enthusiasm is amazing, but also okay, it's okay, calm down, it's fine. So I think this one girl one time just kind of did these really spastic squeals that were kind of scaring me at first, but she was actually very, very sweet and just really excited. So that was very comforting.
Hello. What's your favourite genre of anime that you've worked in, and what's your least favourite genre?
My favorite genre is comedy, I believe. I don't know, there's something about it. I have such a fun time recording it and I think we have such talented writers at the studios that I've worked at that come up with these amazing adaptations for our scripts, because what's funny in Japan may not be funny for more Western audiences or more English-speaking audiences. So I love all the writing that they come up with and the crazy kind of one-liners. Don't ask me to say one because I don't know that I could, but I don't know, there's so many fun lines in High School DxD, for example. Sometimes I don't even get to say them, but I got to direct season 4, and we had a really good time coming up with all those dirty jokes for you guys. It was great. I had a list going of words that maybe we haven't used yet. I forgot what your question was. Did I answer it?
It was, what was your favourite and least favourite?
Least favorite. Least favorite. I don't know that it's my least favorite because I feel there's kind of crossover, and I've done some so this one doesn't apply. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is was so fun, and again one of those adaptations that was super fun to work on. But it's an isekai, and I just think it's not my least favorite, but I think it's kind of getting overdone. The isekai shows. Does everyone know what the isekai show means, or what they're talking about? It's where they're you're inside of a video game, or you're in I'm in another world with my smartphone. Was literally the title of an anime one time. Sometimes the titles are really funny too, so I like those, but they're a little bit overdone. Yeah.
On my way, I'm coming. Here you go.
What's the hardest character you've ever voiced?
Thank you. The hardest, I would say the hardest vocally, on my voice, I played a tiny penguin in a show called Toriko, where the penguin could only use, his own name, and it had to be this super high, squeal, I don't even know if I could do it right now because I'm not super warmed up, but it had to sound even higher than that, constantly. And so I could only do that voice for about an hour at a time before I was okay, no more, I'm dying. I don't have it within me anymore. I would say the hardest kind of emotionally would be Yuki from Wolf Children. That story really hits home for me. For those of you who haven't seen it, here's a little spoiler, but there is a part about losing your father, which I also did when I was really young. When that follows the storyline of that show of them losing their father about the exact same age as I was. And so it was really hard emotionally, but also really cathartic. Yeah.
Hello. Hi. What is the most emotional character you ever voiced and made you cry?
Yuki from Wolf Children. I'm trying to think if I can give you another example too, because that one's like the most memorable for me. It made me think of it this morning when we were doing a card game. They gave away a project that I was in called Blood Sea: The Last Dark. Again, where the character had a lot of emotional range and kind of depth to it, and long monologues about her family history that just, poured her heart out into it. So I would say probably that, but mostly Yuki, It's got a lot of heart to it. Thank you.
Sorry, trying not to steal any spoilers here, but could you deliver your favorite line you've ever delivered in an anime?
I don't. That's so hard, and here's why. I will tell you why. We say those like maybe 1 or 2 times, and then we move on, and we never say them again, and a lot of times we don't ever see them again. But I think, sorry if you guys were here yesterday, but one of my favorite lines I've ever said is from Miss Kobayashis Dragon Maid, where I play Kana, the little lily dragon, and she says,
You cuckold! You slut in glasses!
who gets to say that? Like, that's pretty dope. I like that. That was a fun one. I need to get a list going, because I feel like every time I'll be like, oh my gosh, that was so killer, I need to write it down. I need to get it going so I can answer this question more fully for you guys. Thanks.
What made you want to voice act Kendo?
I just like my hero. I wanted to be a part of that series, like in general. So I remember Colleen Klinkenberg, who is the ADR director for that show, kind of coming to me and presenting me this role and like telling me about it, and I was like, and she was like, or we could wait and use you for a later character later on. I just know I want to use you in the series, and she's one of my mentors, and you guys might know her as Luffy from One Piece. It's one of her major roles, but she's also an ADR director, and I was like, let's do it, I'm ready to be a part of it. And it ended up being really cool because her character in the show interacts with Kendo a lot. But we need more Class 1B, am I right? Let's give it up for Class 1B, come on y'all. Here's hoping that the new season will have some more of that action going on. I've heard some rumors that there's some fun stuff coming up, so I'm excited. Yeah!
I have 3 questions.
Oh wow, okay.
And, how many people do you have in your team, and which ones of them do you like and dislike?
What team?
As in the voice acting team.
I don't know that I understand your question. I'm so sorry. My voice acting team?
Yeah.
Do what?
Yeah, other actors you work with.
Oh, like who do I really enjoy working with?
Yeah.
Man, there's so many of my colleagues that I really, really love. I really admire, again, like I was saying, Colleen Klinkenberg, who plays not only Luffy in One Piece, but plays my mother in Wolf Children. And as you know, the very first line of the film, which is one of my lines, is, "This is a story about my mother." And so it's all about her. And she does it so beautifully, and she makes me cry a million times now. So, and she really mentored me and helped me become a director, and so I really love working with her. I really love working opposite of Austin Tyndall. We get to do a lot of projects together. If you've seen Is This a Zombie? He plays opposite of me in that. I can't remember his character's name. More recently, we were in My Roommate as a Cat, where he played Subaru and I played his cat, Haru. And we did a really fun project that's really similar to Is This a Zombie? Called Love Tyrant, where it's just more of my character being a spaz and like doing horrible and saying horrible things to him, and he's just a really, really funny guy, and I like playing opposite of him a lot. Some other mentors of mine are Monica Rial, who plays opposite of me in Michiko and Hachin, which is one of my all-time favorite projects that I've ever done. So yeah, those are some of my, I guess you'd say my squad, my team, like you were saying. What was your second question?
And how many voices can you do?
I don't know how many voices, if you're talking about more in like the sense of like a Looney Tunes, like switching it up from Daffy Duck to Bugs Bunny. But I've been in over 200 different anime at this point. That doesn't mean that all the voices are different, but they're different characters. So I guess I'd say over 200.
Hello again. Besides Konako that you play in High School DxD, who's your favourite character from that series that you've like the most interacting with?
In the new series, I cannot think of her name, but I love the new fox, the little fox girl. I really loved her new character, but like, I mean, you can't beat a lovable her. And Issei has the best lines, and he's such a ridiculous, like, could not exist in the real world type of character. But he's the best. I love Issei, yeah, for sure.
Hello,
Hi!
has voice acting always been a passion for you, and how did you get into it?
It didn't really start out as my main goal. I come from an acting background, but actually I come from a singing background. So my original passion was music, and I'm still really passionate about music, and that's what I have my degree in, is vocal performance and singing. Where I don't know if they do this over here. If you major in voice, but they make you sing a lot of opera. Does anyone here a voice major? It's so interesting. I have a question really quick for y'all. So down there on the floor, it says upstairs voice. What does that mean? You know, on the floor, like when you walk in, it says upstairs advice, upstairs voice. What does that mean? Anyone? Cool. Awesome. It made me think, like, are they teaching voice lessons? Are they doing voice acting upstairs? So I come from singing and opera and musical theater, and I always just wanted to do. I'm just passionate about any type of performance. When I found out about anime, I found out it through an ex-boyfriend of mine many times back. I've had many boyfriends, and he was really into DBZ, and I started watching it with him, and I was like, what is this? Like, what's going on? This is like this epic like tale that just keeps going and going and going, and isn't necessarily for children per se, but can be. But has a lot of adult thematic parts. And then I think I was watching the credits one day, and I realized that this is recorded like down the street from me. Why am I not doing this? Like, you mean I could do stuff like this? And so it took about 6 years after me having that epiphany before I got an audition. But I got an audition through being in the theater community in Dallas-Fort Worth, where I'm from, in Texas. I'm based out of Dallas, Texas. And having a friend who hooked me up for an audition for a show called Sasame's Magical Girls Club, to which my original audition had a singing component. So I already went in having at least a little bit of confidence in that area, having that background. The rest of it, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I've done theater auditions, so I'm just going to show up and do the best I can. And that person who directed that, his name is Leah Clark, who plays Miss Kobayashi in Miss Kobayashis Dragon Maid, and now is a really, really good friend of mine. She was the first person to ever cast me in a show, and I went on from there to do bits in Hell Girl, and then I got my first major role as Masuko and Ghost Town. And what I love about voice acting and how it's different from theater or film or singing is that, I think I was saying this the other day too, you can just be transformative. You can be anything. You can be a tiny penguin. You can be Joan of Arc. You can be all these things that maybe I wouldn't be able to be in like a film or a stage play that I can be. I can be a 600-year-old dragon who looks 5. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many more possibilities with my voice than just with my face and my body. Yeah. Thank you.
What's your favourite anime, and do you like Danganronpa?
Yeah, good question.
I want to say that I do like Danganronpa. I haven't actually seen a whole lot of it, but I do play a character in that show, and she's Ruruka. She's pretty awful. She's really evil, but she cooks really well and makes a lot of good sweets, but spoiler alert, what she does to her boyfriend is not nice. It's not okay, but there's a lot of things on that show that are not okay, right? Like, that's why we love it. My favorite anime, it's really hard. Been a part of a lot of good properties and a lot of fun things. So, but I really think my all-time favorite is a project that I got to be a part of called Nichijou, where I got to direct all 27 episodes, but also play Hakase. And it had, what was really cool about it is it had 5 leading comedic females, which I think is really rare for any type of show or production. To have, sometimes you'll have a cast of like 7 females if it's like an idol type show, but like to have 5 leading comedic females is really cool, and to have been able to cast that project with people that I thought were freaking funny as hell, and to be a part of it myself as well. I would highly recommend it, y'all. It's so good. It's the one, if you've ever seen the clip of the principal of the school suplexing a deer, that's what that show is from. It's got like such ridiculous moments of like, what is even happening? It's a really fun one.
Hello. Okay, I'm not certain, but I think voice is just what they call the team students go to for advice here.
Okay. So it's like different than advice. And what's advice? Is that like counseling on your classes?
I don't know, it could be career. I was a student here for 5 years, I should know this, and I don't.
I guess you didn't need much advice, you knew what you were doing.
Well, more I didn't want to go and get it.
Right.
As for my question, if you could rewrite time and give yourself any voice role, past or present, which one would you pick?
Not that I would want to steal this from her, but it'd be really cool to be Bulma. That would be awesome. I also really love Winry from Full Metal, which is Caitlin Glass, so I also would want to steal that from her. But I guess some of the older stuff that I didn't really have a chance to be a part of would be really, really cool. Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
My question is there any characters that when you look back and maybe if you watch some of your voices back, are there any characters that make you kind of like cringe a little, or like kind of be like, ooh, that's probably not some of my favourite work, you know what I'm saying? Are there any characters that give you that?
Here's the thing about actors. Are you an actor? I feel like I was talking to you about that. Actors are really self-critical, and it's like part of their job to be that, but it can also be detrimental. So I really try, honestly, sometimes either to not watch it or to just like not fully judge myself in that way, because anything that I did like say 13 years ago, it could be something that is someone's like favorite anime or someone's favorite performance, and like I don't want to shit on it, like just because I think I could have done better, because I know that I was still learning how to do the job. I was doing the best I could with the information I had at the time and with the person that I was at the time. So I really try not to judge it. But sure, to answer your question in the most real way, yes. I think listening to older performances when I was still learning how to do the craft can be like, ooh, especially now that I'm a director and like I'm more super in the moment with like, well, that's how I would have changed that, or that's how I would have redirected that. But also I gotta think, well, maybe that's not what that director wanted, and that director got the performance they wanted and moved on. And so it's weird that way, but you can be your own worst critic as an actor. You really, really can. And so I try to adopt an attitude of non-judgment of my past self, because there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I mean? And it's all good now.
I was just wondering, when you first got started, was voice acting a second job, and would you say that voice acting is conducive to have around a career?
You know what? I'm giving you a prize for that one, because this is an important question. Let me find it. You got a prize-winning question. Come find me after, because I can't see up here, but come find me. I have a tiny prize for you. That's such a great question, and here's why. Yes, it was entirely a second job for me. It was not something that I could make a living off of when I first started. One, because of the way the industry was at that time. Who knows what broadcast dubs are? Raise your hand. Or simul-dubs? 2 people? 3 people? 4 or 5? Yeah. Okay, so the way that anime used to be dubbed was the product came out in Japan. 6 months later, so we would get it in the States, and it would be adapted and written and then dubbed over maybe like a 2-month period. And then a year to a year and a half later, you could watch the dub of that Japanese version. Now it comes out in Japan, and 2 weeks later it's dubbed and up on a streaming site. We have it down to a 2-week schedule. So what that means is we can produce more of it, and we can produce it quicker, and that means more opportunities for more work. But back then it meant like, if you were lucky enough and blessed enough to get like a major role in a show, even a major role maybe only had 20 hours worth of work over a 2-month period, which, at least for the dubbing industry, it doesn't pay like video games pay. I mean, it pays pretty good, but I 100% still had a full-time job up until I became a director there. And also, I just had multiple jobs in general. Like I was doing commercial auditions, I was doing some commercial voiceover, and also working at a marketing firm, or doing theater, or doing all these other like agency-related auditions and putting myself out there in that way. So yeah. But then when I also then started night directing, and then I finally got a full-time job as an ADR director, and now it's my.
So would you say it was like a job that you kind of sacrificed sleep to get into? Like you really kind of had to do your job and then add on to it to make it?
Yeah, I mean, actually a lot of the people in the industry kind of do that. Like a lot of actors, like you're not putting all of your eggs in that one basket. Like you're out there doing, some people do a lot of commercial voiceover, like they'll do like Toyota commercials, and different things like that, or they'll be doing like an on-camera like Starbucks commercial or whatever. They're doing theater, like they're already, it's a job of constant audition and constant rejection. So you gotta have a thick skin, because, and know that like there's just gonna be another opportunity the next day. But also like it is a passion type of work, which a lot of work like is passion type work, but in a way that like you're always just constantly like looking to the next thing, because you can't like really dwell too long on what you just auditioned for. You show up, you do your best with the information you have, and you move on, because you probably have another audition the next day. So sorry, do you mind handing me the mic?
I'm coming up.
Thank you.
So a drive process, like every day is a small adventure.
Yeah.
You're kind of pushing
Look at that. That's
small
like,
adventure every day.
that should be on a poster. Every day is a small adventure. Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. It doesn't always feel like that, to be honest. Like it can feel disheartening and being like, am I ever going to get another job? And I think that's what a lot of new people to the industry, what I call the baby VAs, who are coming up, who get kind of panicky and like come to me sometimes and say like, I'm not getting used to a lot, because we kind of rotate like on a season-to-season basis. There are 4 seasons at Funimation, meaning every 3 months they'll be like, here's a new season of shows we're pushing out. Because they're usually, some continue on, but most of the way that anime works is in like 12 episode segments, and so that's a 3-month period. And so sometimes like they won't get used for like 6 months, and they're like, what am I doing wrong? And I'm like, oh, nothing. Like, there was a time when I was doing it like back in the early days where like I didn't hear anything for 8 months. It's like they're just not used to it, because they're like, if I don't get called in every single week, they're worried about their jobs. I forgot what your question was, but I hope that answered it.
Just doing a quick announcement. If anyone is here for the masquerade ball, if you just want to come over here and we'll line you up at the side there. Sorry, not masquerade ball, cosplay. Oh, it's a long day already. Great, I shall pass you over.
Out of all the roles you've played, what 6 cat animes would you like to have a crossover with?
6? That's
Or top 2?
okay, thank you. Crossovers. I don't know. This just popped into my head, so maybe Miss Kobayashis Dragon Maid is Miss Zombie. I feel like that could get wacky. There's a lot of fun, like, fantasy type characters in there. Let's see, I had the opportunity to direct Zombieland Saga. Did anyone see that? I thought I saw some Zombieland cosplayers here the other day who looked really awesome. So maybe like 2 idol shows at once. Maybe we could do some Love Live Sunshine crossover with Zombieland Saga, and like do some fun like crossover like songs and stuff like that. That was really fun. Yeah, man. I like that question. I will come to you later for a prize. Yeah. I like all your questions. I'm just, yeah. I can only pick 3. Who's next? Oh, hi.
How do you remember how to do all the voices for the different characters?
Good question. So when we, what's called setting the voice, when we set the voice the very first time that we like do episode 1 or whatever episode that our character first shows up in, they record all, they obviously record all the lines, but they take a separate little file and take that and put it in what's called a reference file for your character. And so that way, every time you come in, because sometimes, depending on how many projects you're cast in a season, you could be bouncing around from like 5 different studios in the same day, like doing 5 different characters. And so as soon as you come in, you're like, do you need a reference? And if it's for fairy tale, I'm like, nah. Because I've been doing that character for 150, 200 episodes at this point. But if it's for something fairly new, I'm like, yes. And so I listen to it and I'm like, okay, I remember who this chick is, I remember who this cat is, or whatever the character that I'm playing is. I'm ready to kind of dip back in and like, I usually kind of talk along with my own voice in my ear to remember the attitude, the inflection, and the characterization that I'm doing for that character. Otherwise, yeah, how would I remember? It's hard, but yeah, luckily they have that for us.
Hello again. With voice acting, you work for Funimation, but with other basically what I say is, do you have a specific contract with Funimation so you can't voice act other places?
No, I don't. I also work for Sentai, who does Love Horizon and Food Wars, if you've heard of those. And I've done some other projects with them too. I've also worked for different video game companies, like Gearbox and some places out in LA I also work as well. No, I think if you had to do that exclusively, the people with those exclusive type contracts would be asking for a bunch more money because it would mean less work for you if you couldn't. And the majority of us, and I don't know anyone who has an exclusivity contract like that, you're usually able to, because as actors we're always looking for the next gig no matter where it is coming from. And I've even, funnily enough, like done a project, this is the only example I can think of, but I did a show called Conception. Has anyone seen that? Where I played a character, and then the video game of that same show came out at a different studio, and they were really interested in all the original cast and asked for auditions. But they were like, okay, so we cast you, but not as the same character. So within the same world, I played a completely different character, which was really interesting and also fun for the video game versus the anime. Yeah. So, yeah, I think exclusivity contracts would be death to actors and also death to the studios because, then they wouldn't really be able to, like, just try out a bunch of different things and, like, spread out their range. So sorry. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm guessing like you get bored of just doing that one place, so you like to move back to keep it fresh and...
Yeah, I think it's exciting. The first time that I got to work in LA was for a project, a video game called Demon Gaze 2, and it was super exciting because I think any of the people who managed to because the two biggest markets in the States for video games and anime are Dallas and LA, and so when you make that first crossover, whether it's from one side to the other, like it's always super exciting. You're like, okay, cool, like. I'm viable in that market too, as a voice, which is really exciting. It's fun too, yeah. You get to meet a lot of different people and different directors and work on different types and styles of projects.
What do you think of the current news that's going on inside that Funimation?
Are you talking about the lawsuits? Which current news? There's a lot of craziness happening.
Well, somebody got sacked. I can't remember the name. He was another voice actor.
I'm sorry? I don't know who got fired. I guess I don't know who you're talking about.
I was watching on Cloudfish TV. They were talking about, I think it was Funimation. One of the prices that can't remember the name, but somebody from Funimation got sacked.
Okay, I think the official byline, because I'm an official employee of that company, I'm not just a contract employee, is Funimation has decided to no longer engage with that particular actor. And that's all I can say. You can read the rest of that on the internet.
I'm running. I'm off again. You reckon? Great. One more. I'm over here. It's you.
Hi again. Another question I want to ask is, how do you feel that how do you feel that your role as like a voice actor and stuff and your profession is viewed to people outside of that community and the anime community and all that? How do you think that you are viewed as an individual, and how do you think that your profession is viewed?
Wow. You get a prize, sir. That's all 3 prizes. I've never been asked that. You know, I think it's divisive. Like, a lot of people, like I think most everyone that's here, like experience a lot of love and enthusiasm and interest. I guess, but are you considering y'all like as inside the community? You're not really inside the acting community, I guess we're saying. Or are you talking about outside the anime community? Maybe I misunderstood.
Just in general, like how someone who said like perhaps you say to someone that you're a voice actor for an anime and who is oblivious to the whole community of anime or something, do they think, oh, it's just not a proper voice actor because anime? Because a lot of people outside of the community definitely shun other
Well,
people.
you know what's interesting is like a lot of people still don't know about anime, even though it's like become way more than niche at this point. Like it's become so popular, and I think one of the best-selling like movies of the year was an anime movie. So it's like crazy, like it's beating box offices and like above other major films in some cases. So I don't know, like generally some people are like, oh, that's neat. Like they just kind of don't know what I'm talking about, especially if I'm like trying to describe anime, and I usually just bring up the main ones that I think are the most mainstream, like Dragon Ball Z, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I think they've heard it, but if they haven't, I'm just like, it's a cartoon. I do cartoon voices, you know, and in which case they're like, oh, that's neat, that's really cool. Like generally, I get a lot of love. The shunning that you were talking about, I think comes mostly from inside the community, and it's about shunning the dub. It's when people are like dub versus sub, and like there's, you know, that like
The whole double sub.
yeah, when they don't like have inclusivity for love for all of it, because I love all of it. I watch so much sub. It's a main part of my job. I fall in love with different seiyuu. Seiyuu are what they call voice actors in Japan. And you know, they're who we owe this entire community to. So like I love them and I appreciate them and I respect them. But I respect our community as well. And so that's where a lot of the shunning comes from. Or just from people who have a generalized hate of me as an actor, which in that case, like I just laugh because I mean everyone has their opinions, but what's funny is the internet gives them the ability to be really brazen and really mean, and like for the most part I don't take it to heart because I'm just like, okay, like do you, whatever, dude. Like I just don't really care. Like they're not in my face about it, and even if they are in my face about it, which has happened a few times, I don't know, it just makes me laugh. Not like to disrespect them, but I'm just like, that they're brave enough to like be so awful to my face about anything. Like, and also what can they do about it? Like, I'm just doing my thing. If you don't like it, cool, man. Don't watch it. That's the funny thing is I'm like, but they're watching it. Like you're giving your money and you hate it. That's what's funny to me. I was like, cool, I'm still getting your money, whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay, I've got like 3 more people. Just going run. Like the one that you're after these people, let me just run around, hold on.
Toka, you
I'm
look
gonna
great.
get fit and healthy doing this, yeah. There we go.
Hi, I just want to ask, how do you feel saying goodbye to Fairy Tail after so many episodes?
You know, I was in the studio the other day with Kyle Phillips, who's the ADR director for Fairy Tail. He took over for Tyler Walker after Tyler Walker kind of retired his directing shoes and moved on to writing. And he was like, yeah, we got 7 left. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? We only got like 7 left to record. because Carla hasn't really been a major part of this this newest arc, and so we did like a kind of like a panel and like big party when the last section of the manga was released, and it was really cool because I really get to sit down with Brittany Karbowski, who plays Wendy, and Jeremy Lee, who plays Lucy, and a lot of those people, like I'm rarely in the same room with them at the same time, so it was really fun to talk with all of them, and like it got really nostalgic and kind of sad. But when he told me that literally last week, I was like, oh, it was just kind of shocking. It's kind of hard to believe. I don't think I'll believe it for a while that it's finally going to be over, but also like it's one of those things that like, is it over? I feel like there's already going to be another spin-off. I feel like I won't have to fully say goodbye to Carla. I will in this way, but I feel like she'll come back around at some point and I won't have to fully say goodbye to her, and that's like where I hold out hope for that. Yeah.
Right.
When you voice act, do you get like a sparkly, happy feeling inside of you?
Oh my gosh, you're like so yeah, I think if it's like what the character's feeling in the moment. Let me put it, well, I don't know if this is helpful, but now that I've become a director, and so I'm in charge of like 20 different performances and other details, when in the middle of my day, because I work like a regular like 8-hour day, I get to go I call it a break to voice act. I get to go take a break really quick for like 2 hours to go do that. It feels that way because it just feels lighter, because I'm only responsible for me. Like I'm only responsible for my character, and so it does just feel like a light, kind of happier feeling. But I mean, it's not always sparkles, because like sometimes it's like a lot of yelling or a lot of crying or a lot of this or a lot of that, so it just feels the way the character's feeling. But in general, when you're done and just getting to be a part and like create that character, yeah, I feel happy sparkles.
Right, we have one more question now. It's the last question, so make it a good one.
Do you ever get recognised for your voice, like when you're out?
I have not. I don't think that's ever happened. I've had someone recognize my name before. Obviously, not really my face unless I've met someone at a convention before, because we're just known for our faces, but not really. I can blend into a crowd, which is, I think can be really nice to have that little bit of anonymity, as opposed to a lot of on-camera people who don't really have that ability sometimes. But anytime that it has happened, when I've like said my name, I've checked into different hotels or things like that before, and they're like, Jad Saxton, it's always very sweet and welcoming and nice, and always feels really good. I love meeting you all. I love being able to do this, but yeah, if anyone ever heard me and was like, Jad Saxton, I don't know, I'd be super freaked out, but also super honored that they recognize my name out of the crowd. That'd be really cool. Thank you so much for your questions. Hey, thank you guys so much for coming to my panel. I really appreciate it. I know we're ready to get this cosplay thing on the way, but I'll also be here tomorrow doing some signings and some more talkbacks with you guys. Thank you guys so much. The 3 of you that I said won a prize come in